And now, I want to share our collective gratitude for the 3 amazing storytellers. Each of them have chosen to open their hearts here tonight in order to share just a piece of their journey with you. And even though it is extraordinarily difficult to stand up here in this room, they do it because they know how important it is for all of us to understand the impact of wrongful convictions on individuals, families, and communities. They've been supported in getting ready for this night by Cheryl Hamilton of the Stellar Story Company, a cherished partner in this work. She ensures that everyone's voices are heard. And now we're counting on all of you, everyone here in this room, to lift up these storytellers, give them your warmest reception and attention. So it's my distinct pleasure to introduce you to our first storyteller, Ray Rebello. Ray was wrongfully convicted for 2 Holyoke murders and spent 33 years in prison for crimes he did not commit. He was exonerated just this year and has already become such an important part of the Exoneree Network community. Tonight's his storytelling debut, so one more time, an enthusiastic welcome.
In 1993, I arrived at Walpole State Prison at the age of 21, serving a life sentence, which the government said that I was going to die in prison. I learned pretty quick, right, that nothing is predictable in prison. And, the guys that know me understood that my family meant a lot to me. And I look forward to the visits when they came all the way from New York, my parents, 5 hours to spend some time with me in the visit, right? So everything was going all right. I still was in prison, right? But I was enjoying my visits with my family. In 1995, it all took a turn. There was a riot and they shut Walpole down for a 23-hour lockdown, which means that we were put in our cells for 23 hours. But the worst part was that the visiting room turned from a contact visiting room to a non-contact visiting room, which meant that a plexiglass was between me and my family now. And they had to talk from one end from the phone, and I talk in the other one. And that affected me. And I did that for 6 years. Finally, in 2001, I made it to Norfolk State Prison. And I remember the first visit I had with my family. When they walked through the doors and I was sitting down and they approached me and we embraced after 6 years of dealing with all that madness. We sat down, we had something to drink, we ate, and after a while we went to the photo area because in Norfolk it's one of the prisons that have, you could take photos with your family. And we took photos, we took 2 photos, they took a copy, and I kept one. Little did I know that 2 years later, I was going to become the photographer in the visiting room. And I went back to my seat, and the visit was over. I try to stay busy in Norfolk. I try to get involved in programs, and I was trying to look for a job, and this kitchen jobs, which nobody likes, and there were some other jobs, but the one that really caught my attention was the photographer in the visiting room. The thing was that the jobs were taken, but I was blessed in a way through somebody else's blessing. One of my friends that worked in the visiting room, he happened to overturn his case, and they opened the door for me. And I remember when I first got the Polaroid, remember the Polaroid? And I loved it, I enjoyed it, but I also enjoyed dealing with the families. I got to know them. I got to know kids that from baby all the way to 20 years old. And I gave them advice and everything. And I used to stay longer than what I had to. I used to work 2 hours, but I stayed 4. Sometimes I stay even overtime just to try to keep the visiting room clean with the other guys that kept it clean, because that was for our people. And that meant a lot to me. I saw the ugly side and I saw happy sides, right? And today I'm gonna just try to bring 3 days that stayed in my mind to this very day. The first day was I was coming to work and I went by the attorney rooms, which attorneys use with us, with the clients. But that attorney room also gets used to give bad news to us from our loved ones. And I went by and I happened to see a friend of mine with his mother, but I didn't see his father. And I knew that his father was sick. And what that meant was that they were breaking news to him that his father passed away. It kind of touched me because I got to know Jamie's father. We always used to joke around. He always wanted to buy my chain. For some reason, he loved it. And I said, nah. And that was our little joke. But it was tough because I went back to my office and I came out with some napkins and I went to express my condolences and give him some napkins to clean their eyes. And his wife looked at me and told me what Jamie's father said. He said so many good things about me and the jokes that we used to have in the visiting room. And I just said my condolences and I just walked away. I filled out a sympathy card. I directed it, I addressed it to Jamie, and I let him, get it after the visit. The second day was in January. I happened to take pictures of weddings, another thing that Walpole has. And while I was taking pictures, I got to know the justice of the peace. After 22 years taking pictures, you get to know somebody, right? And for some reason, in January, she asked me, yo, Raymond, when you going home? And I said, I'm not going home. I'm doing life, and that's what it is, And she just, tough expression, And I just said, it's okay. And she just walked away. Little did I know that a month later I will have a different answer. And that's going to bring me to my third day that I will never forget. I remember arriving, leaving my work, heading back to my cell, changing my clothes. And the officer tells me, Ray, you got to go back to the visiting room. So I put my clothes again. I headed back to the visiting room. Better get that, all right? All right, so anyway, I head back to the visiting room, right? And I'm walking in, and I happen to see my attorney, Andrea Peterson, in the center of the visiting room. And I approached her, and she was so happy. And it's something, right, that I approached her, and I embraced her. And she told me, Raymond, they're not going to go to the bail hearing. Raymond, they're not going to appeal it. And Raymond, they're not going to prosecute. So here I was, right? Having everything sink in. And we make it back to the attorney room. The same attorney room that Jamie got his bad news. The same attorney room that the justice of the peace asked me, when you going home, Ray? And I sat there, and she told me, Ray, you're going home tomorrow. So you get something like that and you start processing, right? What happens is that tomorrow was February 29th, my mother's birthday. And it just made my day. So I'm here to say that I go through Facebook once in a while, just looking through the thing, right? And it's funny because I see photos that I took in the visiting room. I also go to different events, and I run into family members and friends, and they embrace me, they wish me the best, they take pictures with me, and believe it or not, they ask me to take pictures. And I just be like, nah, I'm done. You grab somebody else, But I just want to end it with this, right? Working in the visiting room, the support of my parents, and the faith that I have in God, I could tell you today that I'm at peace after doing 33 years for a crime I didn't commit. And like my brother Sean Ellis said, right? Wounded, right? But not broken. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray, for leading this program for tonight and for sharing with us those 3 days that you will never forget. That actually reminds me of something Ray told me the other day that I wanted to share with all of you. Ray said that there are 3 things that you need in order to be freed from a wrongful conviction: a good legal team, a good legal issue, and a good judge. And if all those things don't perfectly align at one time, you're not going to be successful. He's right, but justice should not depend on those things. At the New England Innocence Project, we provide the foundation for this, a great legal team that is prepared for the incredible resistance that we face. Knowing how much needs to fall into place for an innocent person to be freed from a wrongful conviction, it helps us all better understand why it requires so many resources and takes so long to correct just one injustice. And during all of that time, life continues, both inside and outside those prison walls. And as Ray described, the prison visiting room is kind of the in-between space. It's a room that's full of love, but also longing. Ray's perspective was from coming to that room to be with his family, and then leaving that room to go back into the unpredictable prison world.